I'm going to welcome into the studio now three people who have been taking part in a project today which I want to bring to your attention. It's a group of young adults whose lives are affected by MS.
Didn't know what it was. It was just a bit of tingling. All my university friends could tell that there was something wrong with me.
Everything was just slowly passing me by.
I knew nothing about MS when I was diagnosed.
I felt so isolated.
The world didn't seem right.
I look at my children, I look at my husband, and I just draw so much strength.
Hi, my name is Vicky.
And my name's Kelly.
And we have MS. So, what is multiple sclerosis?
I have heard of MS, but I can't quite remember what it is.
Sort of a disease or condition that you can afflict somebody.
I think MS is some kind of disease, isn't it?
MS is a muscular disease. It gets you degenerating a bit.
People know that MS is serious, but they don't really understand what MS is.
But MS is the commonest condition causing neurological problems for young people, and it's in essence caused by the immune system reacting against nerve linings and causing damage, and the consequence of that is to have flare-ups of problems that tend to get better in the earlier years and eventually to reach a phase where things gradually deteriorate. The simple view of it is that the immune system becomes overactive and starts reacting against the myelin nerve linings and causes it to be damaged and come off the nerves. So then you have a bare nerve which simply doesn't conduct the signal properly.
We now probably have 4 or 5 licensed therapies which are quite effective at reducing the number of relapses people have over a period of time. And I suspect in the next 4 or 5 years we're going to have even more effective therapies with fewer side effects that are easier to take, that are not injections, that are tablets.
A diagnosis of multiple sclerosis for some may take several years. For others it may only be a few days, but for everybody there is always a reaction.
Life before diagnosis, fiercely independent, had a very successful job with a very successful sales career. And very good money, and had a lovely, lovely life, and didn't have any worries in the world other than looking after my husband and looking after our son.
I was revising for my exams for university, and I tried to write and I couldn't, and I just kept thinking to myself, oh, my writing would come back, but it didn't.
This numbness in my leg, and just it felt okay a couple of days ago, and now it's just really odd.
So I went to the neurologist in mind with a strong suspicion that I had MS, and basically said to him, these are the symptoms, I think it's MS, and he just said, I think you're right.
And then he said, multiple sclerosis, and it was just like, oh my God, I've got MS. What is MS? Oh my God, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. And so I didn't listen to him at all, and so I cried all the way home on the train.
I was rushed to A&E the next day. I thought it was bleeding on the brain. They had no clue. I had lumbar puncture, had CT scans, and then 2 days of being there, I woke up paralysed and I couldn't feel my right side. Not knowing what was wrong with me was probably the hardest thing.
A long, long time to come to terms with it and to accept it. And the first year, people say, is the hardest, and it is. And now we've started a new year, it's a new leaf for me, and I'm much more positive about it.
MS affects not only the life of the person with the condition, but also the lives of those around them. Their friends, family members, loved ones, in fact anyone who's a part of their lives can find their lives changed by it too.
I can't really explain how I felt. I felt like my heart had been ripped out. I was so upset, I just burst out crying. Just felt like, why? I don't know what the future's going to be like, do I? And I'm Kerry's mum, and I want to tell her that everything's going to be fine, that it's never going to happen again, but I can't.
Although MS changes people's lives, it shouldn't stop them. You may have this condition, but it doesn't have you. Dreams can still be fulfilled and goals accomplished. You may just have to take a different route to get there.
The world is your oyster, and there's no different just because you've got MS. You can do whatever you want to do.
But the positive thing I have managed to do is go to the V Festival in summer this year and go camping for a couple of days and get in amongst it. I wasn't going to let that stop me, and I took my Rebiff with me and kept it cold in the cooler box with the food and beer.
I actually done my exams in August and passed all of them without being at university for a year.
Just because you've got MS doesn't mean you have to stop dreaming.
I'm getting married in March, so in 6 weeks' time I'll be walking down the aisle with my fiancé.
Firstly, get through the birth like any expectant mum and be a great mum to that third child.
The most important thing to remember is that if you don't use it, you will lose it. It's important to exercise regularly and moderately to keep your muscles strong and to make sure that you keep your body fit. When you have MS, to involve your family and friends with any of the exercises and activities that you do makes it more fun, and they can help you and motivate you to perhaps join a gym and go to a gym with. Important to remember is that exercise can make your body temperature higher. That can sometimes increase the symptoms of your MS and make you feel worse. What you can do to help those symptoms is to make sure you keep cool, so have cool drinks, perhaps have a cool shower. When you're exercising, it's important to listen to your body, and your body will tell you when you've done too much. Then you can stop and have a rest and perhaps return to exercise or activity at a later date or a later time.
There's a lot of support around for people with MS. It's knowing what's there and what's in your area that's often the real difficulty. In general, people will be diagnosed with MS by a neurology specialist, and that will be your point of contact for medical questions, or if your MS has ups and downs. Then there's a network of MS specialist nurses who are experts in MS. There are MS specialist physiotherapists in many places who again are a very useful point of contact for the physical changes in MS. So of course you go to an appointment, ask what you want to ask, and the moment you get home you think of another 100 questions. The internet then provides a lot more information, but like anything else on the internet, it's not a regulated system. You can find out all sorts that might be helpful or not. Shift MS, www.shift.ms, is a site set up in the last year or two which tries to tackle this problem, and I would recommend that highly to people who want to find out more about MS or make contact with others in the same situation.
Myself and a group of friends set up www.shift.ms, which is a social network for young people to support each other.
You know, value what you have, I think, is as good advice as I can, because there's we've all got really good things in our lives. Just remember that, you know.
Everybody reacts to it differently, and I think go with whatever you feel. It's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel upset. If you want to go and cry for a few days, then that's fine.
And just hearing everyone's stories, I think it's been a huge value to us all.
There are many unknowns to MS, and as there is with anyone, any life, and I think it's just important to kind of deal with what you have right now and make the best of it and not worry about what may happen, because when it does happen you deal with it and you move on.
It's been a huge value to us all.
I was diagnosed about 2 months before my third year medical exams were due to start, and instead of sort of giving up and thinking it was too difficult to get through the exam, I'm going to do well in spite of what's happened. I did very well in my exams. I came out the other side proud of myself and absolutely determined to get through. So I'm more than happy to be a GP.